Okay. Thanks for joining us for this class called Living in Harmony Through the Ayurveda Way. My name is Dawn Franz. I am the nutritional health coach for Natural Grocers, the store that's located on North Academy, Colorado Springs. I'm someone that loves nutrition and loves to learn more about nutrition.
Miss Kim?
I'll wait
It's okay.
a few minutes before we can get everyone in. Great. Okay. Now there's nothing competing. Okay, so I'll start over. My name is Dawn Franz, and I'm the nutritional health coach at the Natural Grocers on North Academy. And I do classes like these in the store for free as well. There's quite a catalog online for Natural Grocers in the Pikes Peak Library District, as well as there's some classes coming up like one every month, if you want to look out for some future classes with Pikes Peak Library. If you do like this class, Living in Harmony Through the Ayurveda Way, I'm actually going to do it again on October 4th in the store. So if you want to recommend it to a friend or you want to catch it again in person, you can come to our store October 4th at 5:30, and I'll be doing this class again in the store. I think that learning about Ayurveda and the way of eating is kind of a great extension for someone who really is a foodie and loves to learn more about nutrition and how your food and lifestyle can really support your optimal health. So this class is really just an introduction to help you discover your Ayurvedic body type or your dosha. Also, knowing your dosha will help to kind of maximize your health through individualizing your diet and your lifestyle. I do want to remind you before we get into this class is not intended to diagnose or treat or mitigate any disease. And also remember that dietary supplements and foods can interact with medications. So before you start any new prescription, any new supplements or even herbs or foods, really check to make sure that you don't have any interactions with the prescription meds that you might be taking. I have been lucky to work for Natural Grocers for 20 years, and 18 of those years I've been a nutritional health coach. We also offer free one-on-one nutrition coaching that you can sign up for online. You can go to naturalgrocers.com/coaching to sign up for a coaching session. It's free to you, and we actually give you a $5 coupon to use in the store. You can also look at my other classes that I have coming up. Those are online as well at naturalgrocers.com if you want to find out what other classes I have coming up. Natural Grocers really prioritizes offering nutrition education for free for their customers so that they have the information at their fingertips to use to support their health. We offer really the highest quality foods around, and we offer many of our foods at an affordable price. Our Natural Grocers line is all organic, great quality, and very affordable. And we also support local communities. Right now, we are raising money for a nonprofit called Beyond Pesticide. In September, we support organics. So this community is something that really supports that goal. Beyond Pesticides helps to support parks and other recreational areas in states that really want to avoid using herbicides and pesticides. We also provide our employees with great nutrition education as well as a discount so they can afford healthy foods and supplements for themselves. All right, so enough about Natural Grocers. Let's get on to talking about Ayurveda. This class really is just designed as a basic understanding of your constitution along with simple suggestions and ideas for supporting your optimal health. So this presentation isn't really intended to be an in-depth teaching of Ayurvedic science and philosophy, but definitely will give you enough to spark your interest and kind of get you going. At Natural Grocers, we do encourage you to learn more about your body and take charge of your wellness, and this class will really help you to do that. So if you're not familiar with Ayurveda, it comes from a traditional science of Ayurvedic medicine, which is designed to use diet, foods, and lifestyle to bring the body back in balance so that it can then heal itself. Our bodies are amazing, and we have this great chemical makeup that, when it's supported, can really heal and support our overall wellness. So Ayurveda means life knowledge, basically. Ayur means life, and knowledge stands for Veda. So it's a science of healing that arose in India over 5,000 years ago. Ayurvedic theory evolved from a deep understanding of creation. And the great rishis and seers of ancient India came to their understanding through deep meditation and spiritual practices. I forgot to unplug my phone, do that really quick. And the rishis also sought to reveal the deepest truth of human physiology and health. Although a lot of Ayurvedic teachings were customarily passed on orally from teacher to student, there are some texts, and the most important Veda texts contain the original and complete knowledge of Ayurveda, and those texts are still in use today. The wisdom of Ayurveda is recorded in Sanskrit, the ancient knowledge of India, reflecting the philosophy behind Ayurveda and the depth within it. So to understand Ayurveda, you have to understand how Ayurveda incorporates all of the elements of nature, which exist in our environment as well as in our bodies. This relationship between the microcosm and the macrocosm really helps you to understand how you can support your health in a lot of different ways. So the 5 elements that represent the 5 possible states of matter are ether, air, fire, water, and earth. And we understand that the elements are a unique way because we experience them in different ways in the body, right? Each element might have an attribute or a quality that we can experience, and we can describe it as a state of matter. So we know that fire is hot, right? And water and earth are cold. And these attributes, like hot and cold, describe the way that we experience each type of these elements. And so since these elements are all represented in the body, health is in expression when all of these elements are in balance. One is not overreaching one of the other. So if that happens and we have too much of one of these elements, dis-ease or disease is expressed. So the internal and the external environments of our bodies are always changing and adapting. For example, we are going through a change of seasons right now, right? It's fall, we're starting to have crisp mornings and evenings, even though it's hot during the day. And some of the trees and plants are starting to feel this. And I've seen some trees already starting to show their beautiful fall colors. So we want to be able to adapt to those different elements that occur in seasons or even within our lifestyle. So our physical bodies have to be able to balance. And if we are not, then we have problems with our health. So we want to have a balance of things like heavy and light, solid and liquid in the body, cold versus hot, oily versus dry, smooth and rough versus smooth versus rough, stable versus mobile. So all of those things need to be in balance. And Ayurveda understands that the cycles of nature will provide what we need at any given time. So eating foods that are in season can really support the body. Unfortunately, though, society has demanded that we rush and push and shove our way through life just to get ahead, right? So we're not really paying attention to the seasons a lot of the times. We're so focused on trying to get things done and get things done quickly and get on to the next thing, right? But the diet that really supports different cultures in their environment really supports their body. For example, things like the Inuit or Eskimo people that are living in a very cold climate, they have adapted to eat a very high fat diet, and that supports their bodies in that very cold climate. Or, for example, the Polynesian diet, with Polynesia being very close to the equator, it's very warm and tropical there. The people that live there have adopted to eat more fresh fruits and vegetables. And a lot of them are vegetarian. They eat a lot of roots and tubers, and that allows them to adapt to that tropical climate. So the way in which we live today is really disconnected from the natural world. Both our food choices and our lifestyle can lead to a poor adaptation to the environment, and that creates imbalanced health. So if you understand the basics of Ayurveda, you can help yourself make better choices to allow your body to adapt to either your specific type or even where you live or the seasons as they change. And a lot of it is kind of common sense, right? The dietary adjustments that you might need in different seasons to help the body adapt to a change in environment. So think about it, if you're skiing or snowshoeing in the mountains, you're more attracted to hot cocoa or like a hearty chili, right? To warm your body up, versus if you're out at the beach and the temperature is over 100 degrees, you've been baking in the sun, you're attracted to iced beverages and salads or fresh fruit. And you may even have less of an appetite in the heat. So cold foods and raw foods are very cooling, and the temperature of the hot foods and heavier meals really kind of warm up the body. And heavy fat is also good to warm the body. So these types of foods that we eat affect our internal environment. Cooling foods and raw foods actually also move through the digestive tract a lot more quickly. And meat and fat increases thermogenesis, but it slows movement of food through the gastrointestinal tract. So it makes sense that if you are more prone to constipation, don't eat a lot of meat and fat, because that's going to make you more sluggish. If you are struggling with diarrhea, stay away from the raw foods, have more cooked foods and warming foods. Don't eat a bunch of salads. So another kind of cool thing about Ayurveda is that to be in balance, we need to experience all of the different tastes. They can support either cooling or heating as well. So, and actually it's important to have all of these tastes in one day to support your overall health. So as you can see, a lot of the sweet foods will cause your body temperature to cool and slow metabolic rate, which can increase body weight if you're consuming too much sweet foods, right? And more sluggishness. Salty foods are warming and they increase moisture and heaviness. Like salt will pull water, and so you'll retain more water. So most people tend to crave sweet and salty foods together. And both of these tastes really increase moisture and promote heaviness in the body. So even though we crave them together, they're really not the best complement. Bitter, astringent, and pungent tastes are helpful to balance the effects of sweet and salty foods. So if you're feeling that way, like you overdid it on sweet and salty, increase some of these other bitter, astringent, or pungent foods. Bitter food is found in things like green tea. Think of green tea, raw veggies, bitter herbs. Ginger is a bitter herb. Astringent can be found in raw vegetables and fruits and some fresh herbs. And pungent is found in things like spicy peppers, garlic, herbs, and also spices. So balancing out sweet and salty tastes with these other tastes can really help support balance in the body. Ayurveda overall teaches one to understand the language of the body. Through adjusting dietary choices and lifestyle habits, we can adapt to our environment and allow us to have wellness. So let's start with talking about digestive fire. So even in Ayurveda, there is a clear understanding that health begins in the gut with the proper digestion of foods. If you're not digesting our foods well, we can't absorb nutrients and we really can't have overall health. So Agni is the term used for digestive fire. When digestive fire is strong, we are able to break down our macronutrients, our protein, carbs, and fats into smaller components and absorb them, as well as our micronutrients are better absorbed from our foods. So a strong digestive fire is definitely indicative of good health and healthy digestion and elimination. When our digestive fire is not so great and not as strong, our ojas kind of can build in the body if we have good digestive fire. If it's not, we have weak ojas. Ojas is the Sanskrit word meaning strength. So ojas is the innermost vital essence which manifests as a healthy body weight, good healthy immune system, healthy digestion, positive mood, healthy skin, hormone balance, and healthy sleep. So if you're experiencing imbalance in any of these, really look at digestion and supporting that Agni or digestive fire. So if we don't have enough of that Agni, Ama accumulates kind of in the body, and that can be toxic matter that isn't being eliminated through proper digestion and elimination. And that can lead to poor health. Our liver is part of the digestive tract. If our liver is not processing toxins, they build up in the body and contribute to poor health. So now we're going to talk about the different doshas or the body types. To figure out which dosha you predominate in, there is a attached dosha quiz. You can, I found this one, there's plenty of dosha quizzes out there. This one that I found that is attached is from Deepak Chopra, and you can find it at www.chopra.com. So you go through a questionnaire, and then you add up your points for the different questions, and you'll find out whether you are more of a Vata type, Pitta, or Kapha type, or maybe a combination of all three, or a combination of two. But the body typing is used in Ayurveda as kind of like a roadmap for maintaining health and to watch for diet and lifestyle tendencies that promote imbalance. So Vata and Vatas tend to look more like ectomorphs, and Vata is the air element and supports the function of the nervous system. Pitta is a mesomorph and is kind of the fire of the body. Digestive juices and heart are supported by Pitta energy. And then the Kapha represents more of the earth and water energy and the structure of the body. So the predominant dosha is determined at the moment of conception and relates to your genetically inherited physical and emotional qualities. Your doshas relate to the qualities, characteristics, and tendencies that are stable. So you might, gain or lose weight throughout your life, or you might experience different changes. Okay, I am really sorry to have to pause this. There seems to be a phone call for me. They've called like 5 times. I'm in the store right now. I'm really sorry. It could be a family member. I'm gonna have to pause for just one moment, okay? I'll be right back momentarily.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you so much for understanding. Sorry I had to do that. It was a family member. So, but thank you again. So let's get part of this presentation about the doshas. Maybe that gave you some time to take the dosha quiz so you can figure out what your predominant dosha is. But if not, please take it after this class so you can figure out which type is your predominant type. As I said, I was talking about sometimes you have temporary changes, but your predominant kind of characteristics don't really change too much throughout your life. Your eye color and your height is something that doesn't change. So those are the things that represent the different doshas. Okay. So since all of the elements that we talked about earlier are represented in the body, we all have all of these elements within our bodies. And yet each of us might have a predominant dosha with dominant qualities. All of these elements will be represented in different body parts or different parts of our body. And these doshas can really be a wonderful tool, I think, both for understanding our natural strengths and our vulnerabilities. So that determine your constitution, and it's good to know how to support both, right? And correct imbalances that might be affecting your health. So next we're going to talk about weich dosha within a little bit more depth. Those with the predominant vata dosha, we're going to start talking about vata first. Vata definitely are people that are thinner, they have more of a lighter frame body, they also have excellent agility. Their energy comes in bursts, and they also likely experience times where they have sudden bouts of fatigue because they've maybe overdone themselves. Vatas typically have dry skin and hair and cold hands and feet, and they sleep really lightly. So they might wake up easily and not sleep super well, and their digestion can be kind of sensitive too. They tend to be more anxious people. So the Pitta dosha are people that typically have more toned, athletic bodies. They're of medium height and medium build, and they tend to gain weight more evenly. Their eyes tend to be hazel green or light brown, and they're more of medium size. They also tend to have more of a yellowish or like a reddish kind of skin, more sensitive skin, and prone to freckles and rash or sunburn. People can be more sharp and fiery and confident, and they also enjoy physical activity. And then we have the Kapha dosha. The Kapha represents qualities like water, so heavy, they tend to be more slow and stable. Cold, soft, and dull are also Kapha qualities. Kapha can tend to be like the cool cucumbers of the group. They tend to be calmer or more peaceful than other types. They also tend to have oily skin, and they tend to be more emotionally stable. Kapha body type is physically strong and compact, as well can be more wide with larger hips and thighs and buttocks and chest. And they tend to be perpetually overweight. Their skin is fair and cool and often gleaming, beautiful complexion. Kapha hair tends to be thick and luxurious also, and abundant and often wavy. Kapha individuals tend to overproduce mucus, so they might be more prone to seasonal allergies, sinusitis and bronchitis, or asthma. Their voices are more soft, often blocked by the excess mucus that they produce. So you can be predominantly a vata, pitta, or kapha. So those are some of the 3 doshas, but then there's actually 7 doshas. So some people are kind of equally vata and pitta predominant. Some people are equally pitta and kapha. Some people are equally kapha and vata. And then some people have all 3 doshas kind of in equality. So let's talk about what the different doshas represent in the body. So since Vata is the air element, it supports the function of the nervous system. So we do need that type of quick, energetic energy within our nervous system, and then within our brain, especially neurons needs to communicate quickly and with split-second timing. The other organs that are represented by the Vata energy in our body are the large intestine, the kidney, and the bladder. So you could have excess Vata energy within your body, or if you're the Vata type, you might have overdone some things that aggravate the Vata constitution. And that can cause an imbalance of excess Vata. Since Vata is cold and airy and dry, seasons like winter or fall, when it can be very windy, can really aggravate Vata types, or just your own constitution in your body, your Vata could be out of balance. Vata types might have more difficulty tolerating loud noises. They might be spacey and forgetful and scattered because they're just go, 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 they're on the move. They might be more prone to excess thinking or worrying. They might be more nervous or anxious or fearful. They might have more dry, chapped skin or eczema. They might be more prone to constipation because of the dryness, or gas and bloating, or hard stools. And they tend to forget to eat. So, and they have kind of a lower appetite, so they might have a low body weight. And then Pitta is the fire element, which is represented in our digestive system. And we need that hot digestive energy to digest and transform foods into usable energy for our bodies. The Pitta energy is represented in our small intestine, and that's where we do a lot of our digestion and our absorption of nutrients. Our heart is also a very highly metabolically active organ. Our liver and gallbladder are also really highly metabolically active. Our liver metabolizes all of our foods, our carbohydrates, our fats, our proteins, and the gallbladder is needed to emulsify fats. And the spleen is also governed by Pitta energy. So if you have an imbalance of Pitta in your body, these are some things that might show up. You might have more red or inflamed skin, or be prone to acne or cold sores. You might have achy or painful, inflamed joints or parts of the body. You might be more prone to acid reflux or gastric ulcers or heartburn. You might really feel terrible if you miss a meal because you digest food so quickly that your blood sugar drops if you don't eat. You might be more prone to loose stools. Pitta is also very fiery, right? So that energy of frustration, anger, irritability could be an imbalance in Pitta. You might have inflamed eyes, or when Pitta is out of balance, you might show more perfectionist tendencies. So Kapha, which is very grounding, since it's the earth and water element, represents the structure within our body, our bones and our muscles. Kapha is that slow energy, that heavy, dense and stable energy. So it provides the cohesiveness that we need to maintain proper form in the body. Some of the organs that are governed by the Kapha energy are our stomach, our lungs and respiratory system. That's why when Kapha is out of balance, we might have more mucus in the respiratory tract, and the pancreas, as well as all our muscle, fascia, ligaments, tendons, and even our skeleton. So when we have an excess of Kapha in our body, these are some things that might show up. Like I mentioned, you might have more mucus in the sinuses or respiratory tract. You might get more overly sentimental. It might be hard for you to lose excess body weight. You might feel more stubborn or complacent. There is a tendency for emotional overeating with Kapha energy. Also just feeling more sluggish and having sluggish bowel movements, or being easily attached or possessive about ideas, relationships, or objects. So that's when Kapha can be out of balance. So overall, since we have all doshas present in the body, balancing them is the key to feeling your best. The Vata energy, though, just within the human body, sets the rhythm for the rest of the body, which with it dances. So this means that balancing the nervous system that the Vata energy represents is key to restoring health to the rest of the body. So if you think about it, we talked about how important digestion is, but our nervous system, if it's out of balance, we don't have good digestion. We need to be in kind of a rest and digest state to be able to produce digestive enzymes and properly digest our foods. But if we're always stressed out and our nervous system is fried, we don't have good digestion, we can't sleep well, everything is suffering, right? So the Vata dosha is responsible for all movement within the physiology of the body. And when Vata becomes aggravated, we'll have more anxiousness, insomnia, heart palpitations, and digestive issues, among other things. Diet and lifestyle behaviors influence how we balance Vata and the nervous system. If Vata is out of balance, then all of our systems can suffer. So let's talk about what type of routines and things might be needed to help balance a Vata energy in the body, or if you're predominantly a Vata dosha. Routines are definitely good to set for Vata people because it's hard for them to stick to routines. So it's a great goal to really establish a regular eating routine so that you don't forget a meal or skip a meal. So focus on eating at regular times, at least 3 meals a day, and then make sure you have a snack if you know you're going to go more than 4 or 5 hours between meals. And also to support regular sleeping habits, don't stay up past 10. Really make sure you're, implementing some proper sleep habits so that you get relaxed and get to bed by 10. Also, doing some daily movement is important for Vata types, but more on the light side, like yoga and Pilates, walking, even some weight lifting, but really avoid endurance exercise if your Vata is out of balance, because it can overstress the nervous system. Another thing you can do to balance the nervous system is incorporate some time for relaxation and meditation, and then make sure you're getting at least 8 hours of sleep a night. So there are some foods that can really support and get Vata balanced if it's out of balance. It's better to consume warm and cooked foods, those feel-good foods, versus raw foods when Vata is out of balance. So steam, saute, stew your vegetables, add generous amounts of fat like organic butter or ghee, coconut oil. That whole fat really helps to feel you more grounded and balance your blood sugar, and also support your brain and nervous system. Getting adequate protein at every meal. So a palm-sized portion, adequate starch, so healthy sweet potatoes or squash, or maybe some whole grains like rice and oats or legumes that are properly prepared. The tastes that really support Vata are the sweet, sour, and salty taste. So it is important to strive to acquire some regular routines with Vata to balance the nervous system, and also the Vata type should make sure that they're not under eating or skipping meals. There are some great spices to support the Vata type. Ginger helps to modulate inflammation and support digestion. Cardamom and cumin are great also for digestion. Cumin supports the immune system and calms the nervous system. Cloves is good for digestion and supports healthy circulation. Mustard seed is great for detoxification. It contains a compound that's found in other, like of the brassica family, like broccoli and cabbage and cauliflower. Supports healthy detoxification as well as immune function. Adding some salt can help to warm and add moisture for Vata types, and salt has an effect to hold water in our cells. So that can help Vata types slow down. So make sure you're salting your food with a good, healthy pink Himalayan sea salt or real salt. Another great herb for a Vata type to help calm the nervous system is ashwagandha. It's very rejuvenating for emotional and physical stress. It helps to balance stress hormones like cortisol so that you can sleep deeper. And triphala supports digestive health. It helps with regularity and healthy detoxification. So here's a really kind of one-day Vata meal plan. It's good to support healthy digestion. So hot lemon water in the morning is great for Vata types, or even a ginger tea or a stress ease tea. And then when it comes to breakfast, we want that balance of the carbohydrates, the proteins, and the fat. So a steamed red skin potato to give you some healthy starch, some veggies like red pepper and zucchini, topped with a healthy fat like ghee, over 2 medium eggs. And so let me just stop right there too, because you're probably scratching your head if you're thinking of traditional Ayurveda being vegetarian, and it is primarily. Traditionalists may not follow modern scientific research showing that grains and legumes can promote inflammation in the human body. So we encourage you to find out what works best for you. If vegetarian works best for you, that's great. If your choice, so it's good to just kind of experiment and see what works for your body. And then, so an example back to the Vata diet for lunch might be a baked sweet potato with roasted chicken thighs and collard greens that are sauteed in coconut oil. A great snack for Vata would be a full-fat Greek yogurt with blueberries. And then for dinner, a butternut squash soup, sauteed apples, plain Greek yogurt with broiled salmon, roasted beets, and kale. That sounds delicious. All right. So let's move on to the Pitta type. With Pitta, you want to avoid overeating. Pitta tends to have a really strong appetite, so it's important to get 3 well-balanced meals a day to keep your blood sugar balanced so you're feeling full. Pitta also does have that fire, so they tend to burn foods up pretty easily, and doesn't. So it's important for them to have regular meals and 1 to 2 snacks also, to make sure they're getting enough food in to fuel their bodies. Pitta types want to make sure they're getting enough protein, lots of vegetables, and adequate starch. If Pitta types don't get enough carbohydrates, that can cause problems for them and cause them to overeat. It's also important for Pitta types to follow like a regular routine of exercise, meals, sleep, and rest. It's also important for them to incorporate relaxation and meditation. Pitta types tend to be more fiery, and so it's important for them to know how to balance unstable emotions. Pitta does well with cardio or moderate type cardio exercise and weight training. It might be also important to make sure that you're avoiding excessive heat with Pitta. So avoid the spicy, hot foods when your Pitta energy is out of balance. And Pitta types, unfortunately, might be the ones to avoid caffeine because it can kind of overstimulate them. It is important for Pitta to, like I said, develop some sort of skills to manage their emotions, support seasonal detoxification. So maybe like right now in the fall, do a kind of food cleanse, or also incorporating the hot lemon water in the morning. Pitta types do the best with raw vegetables and raw juices, especially in the warmer months. So for keeping Pitta balanced, it's good to consume an abundance of vegetables, either lightly steamed or sauteed, but raw is also okay for Pitta types. Also make sure that you consume some whole food complex carbohydrates, so you're getting some carbs in, but look to make sure that they're good healthy choices like sweet potatoes or beets, millet, rice, or even using fresh fruit as your carbohydrates. It's important for Pittas to keep their blood sugar balanced, so incorporating enough healthy protein from chicken, turkey, fish, beef, or buffalo, as well as healthy fats. But Pitta types need to be careful about not too much fat. So a keto diet wouldn't be good for a Pitta type. It does stress out the liver and gallbladder, and that tends to be their organ that can be more prone to out of imbalance. And also focus on reducing inflammation and balancing digestive fire if you are working on a Pitta imbalance. So there's some great herbs to support the Pitta dosha. Cardamom is great for Pittas. It modulates inflammation and supports GI health. Fennel helps to reduce appetite. It soothes the stomach, and it's great for managing inflammation. Cinnamon's good for balancing blood sugar, will be great for Pitta types. Also, add some cinnamon to your oatmeal, to your sweet potatoes, to your tea. Pittas, if they do have tea, it's great to put some cinnamon in there. Coriander is great for modulating inflammation too and supporting the GI tract. Small amounts of spicy pepper and black pepper are okay for inflammation purposes. For Pittas, but not overdone. Just be careful not to overdo the spice. And here's a sample kind of day in the life of Pitta, okay? So you want to support the liver health, so doing that warm lemon water in the morning can really be good. Again, we want to balance the vata, even if you're a Pitta type. So balancing stress, like maybe a stress eats tea would be appropriate. And then breakfast is going to be balanced in carbs, fat, and protein. So an apple, maybe 2 to 3 egg omelet with some veggies in there.
I'm going to be early.
Oh, there's some background noise. Okay. So then for lunch, it might be a large lettuce leaf salad, maybe some carrot and beets to give you healthy carbohydrates in there, cucumber, olives with a chicken breast for protein. Pitta snack might be a smoothie with protein powder, so you're getting the carbs from the fruit and then the protein and then some greens in there. And dinner might be broiled wild salmon with beets and parsnips and steamed kale. And a dessert might be fresh fruit with some nuts to balance the blood sugar, some walnuts or almonds. Okay, so next we're going to talk about Kapha and the foods that you need to balance a Kapha dosha. Kaphas need stimulation and warmth. So warm tea, especially hot water or coffee in the morning, can really be great for Kapha. Kapha is the only dosha that does really great with caffeine, and they actually need it because it's stimulating for them. Kapha craves stimulation and invigorating music, smells, and experiences. Since Kapha can be more sluggish, it's good to incorporate regular movement. Whatever works for you, whatever you'll do, whether it's walking, hiking, yoga, whatever's fun. Minimize sweet, sour, and salty foods for Kapha because those foods will cause you to retain more moisture. Avoid overeating or undereating with Kapha. So warm, light, and less oily foods are really beneficial for Kapha. So since Kapha is more of that earth element, those tastes like bitter, pungent, and astringent are really great for balancing Kapha. So you can attain those tastes with like arugula, asparagus, ginger and garlic, turmeric, hot peppers. All those things can really be great tastes and foods for Kapha. Kapha is the dosha that really does great with a lot of vegetables, a lot of low carb veggies, 8 to 10 servings of vegetables a day, more cooked though than raw. So lots of low carb veggies like cauliflower rice, broccoli, cabbage, eggplant, spinach, all the greens. And then take care to moderate the higher carbohydrate starchy veggies with Kapha. So a little bit, but not too much when it comes to sweet potatoes or squash. it can make Kapha feel a little bit more sluggish when they do too much carbohydrates or sweet foods. So it is important for Kapha to eat fat, but more of a moderate intake, not as low as Pitta, but just kind of what you're cooking with. Olive oil, grass-fed butter, ghee, coconut milk are good healthy fats. Fresh foods that are made fresh are great for Kapha. Getting a balance of protein, veggies, and fat is really important. The carbohydrates can be included if you're more active, but if you're not as active, don't include a whole lot of carbohydrates. It's best for Kapha to avoid cold beverages and cold foods, more of the warm foods. Avoid a lot of grains and flour products. They can really imbalance Kapha. And like I said, Kapha is the lucky dosha that can really do well with a little bit of caffeine. So a cup of coffee or tea a day can really support Kapha dosha. Turmeric, with its bitter, pungent, and astringent, as well as heating properties, is great for Kapha. Turmeric is great for balancing inflammation in the joints, in the brain, all over the body. It also supports digestion and detoxification. Turmeric is one of the Ayurvedic spices that I think all of the doshas can really benefit, but especially Kapha. Ginger is really pungent and heating, so those ginger and turmeric are great for Kapha. Triphala is also good for supporting healthy digestion and detoxification for Kapha. Some other great spices are like fenugreek. It's bitter and pungent, and it helps with balancing blood sugar and digestive health. Black pepper is also pungent and warming, great for circulation for Kapha, and good for respiratory health. And cumin's also great for Kapha types. So let's look over a Kapha meal plan real quick. So again, they can start with a cup of coffee, a black coffee, or if they want, hot lemon water or a cup of green tea. And then for breakfast, lots of veggies, so steamed broccoli or green beans, celery, and leek, blended into a soup and seasoned with cumin. And then over 2 poached eggs to give some healthy protein. Lunch might be a curry elk burger. That sounds really yummy, elk burger. And then you can add some vegetables, whether it's sauteed kale and onions. A snack for Kapha might be some fruit, like some low glycemic berries. And then for dinner, some salmon on roasted cauliflower rice, and steamed kale. A dessert for Kapha might be a nice warm cup of tea with some almond milk in it. So if you have a predominantly Vata and Pitta type, that means that you might follow a Vata balancing regimen in the fall and winter seasons. That's when we experience the environment of Vata energy, especially in the changes of seasons. In the fall, the wind picks up here. You can really feel that. But when in the summertime, you might also follow like a Pitta balancing regimen in the spring and summer, especially when the weather is warm. Alternately, if you're a Pitta Kapha type, you would follow a Pitta balancing regimen during the late spring and summer when the weather is hot. And you would follow the year like fall and winter and early spring, especially when the weather is cool and damp. If you find that you're a Vata Kapha type, and that those are the 2 predominant doshas of your constitution, you might follow a Vata balancing regimen in the summer and fall seasons, especially when the weather is really dry, and then a Kapha balancing regimen in the winter and spring, when we have more of a cool, damp weather. And then you might be one of the lucky types that have like an equal blend of all the doshas. You might be a tridosha, Pitta, Pitta, Kapha type. And those are the people that can really tolerate a wide variety of seasons and environmental conditions. So then you would just kind of follow the seasons, like you would follow a Vata balancing regimen in the fall and early winter, and then a Pitta balancing regimen in the late spring and summer, and then a Kapha balancing regimen in the late winter and spring. This tridosha type tends to be the most sturdy of all the constitutions, and they get sick less than others because they really have all of those doshas present in their body. So as we know, health is not a one-size-fits-all proposition. What helps one person may not help another, may be poison for another. And through understanding the unique nature of your constitution, your situation, the season, and the geography in which you live can really work towards creating harmony and balance in your body and your being. So in general, Ayurveda can be used to support the body's health. Well, no matter what dosha you have, since we have all of the doshas represented in the body, it's always good to support digestive fire so that nutrition can be absorbed and waste materials can be eliminated. It's important to combat imbalances as they come up by removing the cause of the problem. So when that troublemaker is out of the picture, the body will start to heal itself. For example, if the body is excessively hot, use those cooling foods, herbs, and spices and beverages to rebalance it. And then lastly, take charge of your body. You can reach your unique state of balance, expressing health of your whole being, your body, mind, and spirit. And Ayurveda can really help you find this balance. So it's a great tool to use. I've got some great resources. If you were wanting to do a little bit more research, there's a great book called The Ayurvedic Vegan Kitchen by Tyler Letzker that you can locate either online or at your local library. And also, there's a book called The Complete Book of Ayurvedic Home Remedies, based on the timeless wisdom of India's 5,000-year-old medical system by Vasant Lad. That's a great resource. We don't carry this book on our shelves, so you'd have to special order it or find it somewhere else. So those are some of my top resources. Thanks for listening today. Thank you for letting me pause in the middle of this presentation. And as always, I want to encourage you to eat well and live well and be well. And I know it was kind of a whirlwind introduction to the doshas, and hopefully it sparks your interest to learn a little bit more about Ayurveda and Ayurvedic way of eating. I did want to open up to see if anybody had any questions before we end. Thank you again for listening, and if you do stop into Natural Grocers for attending this class online, we can give you a $5 coupon for the store. So just let an employee know that you listen to the class Living in Harmony through the Ayurveda Way by Don Franz, and they'll be able to honor that and give you a coupon.
Thanks, Don. And I want to let everyone know that I emailed out the handout, so you should have them. If not, just let me know and I can send them again. Thank you, Don.
You're welcome. Thank you.